And now, here's your What's the 411 news brief. Welcome, everybody, back to What's the 411. How's everybody doing? How's things going with everybody? We have another news brief. All right. We have a Nigerian man that is on the run, and he is on the run due to a missing black woman that came from California to Texas. All right. So real quick, we're going to roll two different videos, and we're going to hit the first one and touch on a little article and hit the second one. All right. Let's check out the video.
Right now, police are looking for the man they say killed Felicia Johnson. She's a California woman who disappeared while visiting Houston more than 8 weeks ago. Ugochi Loka has been following this case since Johnson went missing in early April. Ugochi, good morning to you. What have you learned?
Steph, good morning. You know, it's news we were hoping just wasn't true when we heard about it. And Houston police, they do confirm they believe that this missing 24-year-old woman who was reported missing before was in fact murdered. And they say they believe it happened here. Now, this is an apartment complex off of South Richmond Avenue. Take a look at your screen. This is the suspect, 28-year-old Chukwu Ebuka Wabudo. Investigators say Felicia was visiting from California when she was reported missing back on April 16th after her bloody phone was discovered at Bear Creek Pioneers Park. Houston police tell us Wobudo picked Felicia up from an apartment complex on Windchase Boulevard and took her to his apartment here on South Richmond Avenue. Investigators say they found evidence that Wobudo killed her here before getting rid of her personal belongings at the park and disposing of her body. Quanell X, who's been helping Felicia's family, weighs in.
We need you young sisters to look at these cases like Felicia Johnson and realize that your life can be taken from you in the blink of an eye by some sick-minded individual.
And Wobudo is still on the run. If you see him or know where he is, please call Houston police. Sadly, Felicia's body has not been recovered yet. Kimberly?
It was the news no one was wanting to hear or expecting. Ugochi Loka live for us this morning. Thank you.
All right. There you have it there. We're going to go ahead and touch on an article and get some more details. All right. And so let's look at this right here. Man wanted in missing Texas woman's murder. He Googled how to be a serial killer and how to get away with murder. All right. And before we go on real quick, I want to touch on this. All right. I want you to peep this game and look at what's going on here. Notice that particular video and in the articles, they don't mention that this guy is Nigerian. All right. And if you're familiar how the mainstream news gets down, that's why you need to check out all your new black media, because we'll break it down to you. What they're doing with the mainstream news, and for those who focus and watch only the mainstream news, you're going to find that situations like this, they're not going to break down the killers or the criminals, certain whether it's black or white. So they want you to look at this man and just see him as a black man when it comes to crime. They don't want to tell you that, yo, this is a Nigerian black man. This ain't a black man from America doing this. This is a Nigerian doing it. Then to add on to that, when it comes to black immigrants, you notice that black immigrants will be very quiet about things like this. But when it comes to them wanting to promote or be braggadocious about somebody, a black immigrant doing something great, then they're quick to distinguish themselves from not being black. They'll say, for instance, if somebody in a family became a surgeon, they'll say, look at our Nigerian surgeon. Look at our Jamaican lawyer. All right. Look at our Trinidadian who's in Congress. They always break it down like that. They don't say black then. But when it comes to anything dirty that they do, they're real quiet. They don't step up and denounce them. Well, this Nigerian man was wrong, or such and such. This Jamaican person did this wrong and that was wrong. That's not how we behave. They don't do that. So they're real distinctive about distinguishing themselves. And the news does it as well. All right. And so with that being said, let's go on and check out this article here. Okay. Police in Houston, Texas are searching for a man they believe killed and possibly dismembered a missing woman last seen on April. Chukwubuka Wobodo is 28 years old and is wanted for murder and tampering with evidence. All right. Officers said in a charging document that they previously arrested. This is where it's been an issue, because some of these news outlets will give you the impression that he's been arrested already. But what it was is that he was arrested earlier last month. And as it says here, officers said in a charging document, they previously arrested Wobodo on May 13th, and he had pictures of dead people on his phone. But they described him as being at large in a press release. All right. A spokesperson with the Houston Police Department told another source that that was a pocket warrant, and officers did not yet have the evidence on May 13th for charges. That's interesting. A pocket warrant. They did not have evidence on this guy, although he had some pictures of dead people on his cell phone. That's interesting. He was detained, questioned, and released at the time, according to the spokesperson. Wobodo purchased items including a mechanical saw, trash bags, towels, and a flashlight around the time he killed Felicia Johnson, who was 24 years old. All right. Officers said he made a series of suspicious Google searches in the days following the murder. These searches allegedly included, okay, so this is what he looked up. This is what he went on his computer or phone and Googled. He Googled, does bleach denature blood? Then he Googled, can bleach destroy DNA? Then he Googled, what does bleach do to blood? Then he Googled, what does vinegar do to blood? Then he Googled, does vinegar destroy blood DNA? Then he Googled most forested part of Houston. I'll go into that for us in a minute. He Googled how to delete your history completely. And in particular, from April 28th, the suspect allegedly searched on an internet on Google how to be a serial killer. Then he Googled how to get away with murder. Then he Googled how to kill without getting caught. Okay. So let's go back to that most forested part of Houston, because I think she was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Felicia Johnson was found in like a wooded area. So he was apparently looking up places that had the most forested look, where people probably won't be going in and out of. And maybe, I don't know if he was thinking that way, but maybe he was also thinking that people couldn't see from an air point of view, from an airplane, helicopter, something like that. So he was apparently looking for somewhere to dump her body off, right? This dude, man, again, like I say, this is a Nigerian dude, and you don't hear nobody in that group, in that any Nigerian speaking up about this at all in any social media spaces, on the news, and anybody who's in any type of mainstream, working for any mainstream news companies. They're not coming out and saying anything, which is very telling. But when you, like I said before, and the mainstream news is playing off of that as well, they just want you to see black man. So it paints a picture that just all black men and this and that are criminals. They do this, they do that. So that's the thing they want to portray to folks, instead of breaking down, because you start breaking down by who they really are. Nigerian did this one. This Jamaican did this crime, or this person from Trinidad did this crime, and so on and so forth. and they distinguished that it wasn't a Black American man or so and so, or this was a British Black man from Britain or something like that, whose background is from the Congo or something to that effect. They just want you to see Black man, so they really hitting you with the propaganda is what I'm saying. So in Wobodo, also allegedly searched on May 3rd whether police can check phone records. So he Googled that as well. Can police check phone records of a missing person or their text messages? There was an April 30th search for escorts in Houston. Officers said police have suggested that Johnson originally encountered Wobodo for purposes of prostitution. That's what the police are suggesting, that Felicia Johnson encountered in Wobodo for the purposes of prostitution, and that Wobodo withdrew a total of $500 for the April 16th encounter. All right. He allegedly ordered an Uber for her and picked her up on the early morning hours of April 16 from the Windchase Hamlet apartment homes at 3233 Windchase Boulevard, where he previously used to live until March 2020. He took her to his apartment at 14935 South Richmond Avenue, officers say. Johnson's worried family members in California reached out to Texas after not hearing from her. Her cell phone was found with blood on it off the roadway in Bear Creek Pioneers Parks near Highway 6 and Clay Road. A member of Texas EquiSearch found a purse nearby matching the description of Johnson's purse, according to police. All right. Cops say they were able to track down Wobodo in part through investigating the Uber. So I guess that's how they end up finding out his name and who he was. Okay. They described the violent scene at his Richmond Avenue apartment, saying there were apparent blood stains throughout the residence when executing a search warrant on May 13. This included the hallway floor just outside the bathroom and throughout the bedroom. Testing showed a match to Felicia Johnson's DNA inside of Wobodo's apartment. All right. So far, Felicia Johnson can't be found and Wobodo can't be located as well. So after the original May 13 arrest, police claimed to find a photograph of a deceased, dismembered female and 3 photos of dead people on Wobodo's phone. These images did not have metadata, according to police. Okay. The HPD spokesperson told Law and Crime that they have not confirmed if those images are of Johnson. All right. Police claim to find various suspicious items in Wobodo's silver Honda Accord with the license plate of LLD 6670. All right. This included a 9mm handgun, receipts for items he possibly used in the cleanup, multiple loose latex gloves, a large kitchen knife, and a shovel. A regent showed the presence of blood in the vehicle and on the kitchen knife, officers say. Wobodo was previously accused of sexual assault in November 2020. All right. Police say a woman who claimed he tried to rape her in his vehicle. She got out and broke free after he chased her down and grabbed her wrist, the woman said in the probable cause affidavit. Police said she later denied there was any violence or sexual assault. She said she did not want to press charges and she just wanted to go home. All right. So you have that right there. So right now, before I comment on something that's very important, we're going to take a look at another video here. All right. So let's check this one out.
And now to those new disturbing details in the Felicia Johnson case. Court documents revealing how she met 28-year-old Chukwuebuka Nwobodo, the man wanted in her murder. The documents also detailing how he allegedly researched ways to cover up the crime. Our Brittany Ford breaks down the very latest on the investigation.
Court documents show Unwubudu made a plan to cover up Felicia's murder. I do want to warn, some of the details are graphic. What happened to Felicia Johnson? Questions haunting a heartbroken family and the community who has been following her case closely.
This was a wicked crime and a crime against women and a crime against humanity.
Court documents revealing 28-year-old Chupa Ebeka Unwubudu called an Uber for Johnson in the early morning hours of April 16th after she had posted an advertisement on an escort website. The Uber taking Johnson to a location on Wind Chase Boulevard, an apartment Unwubudu had recently moved out of. Police say Unwubudu picked Felicia up, taking her to his current residence on South Richmond Avenue. Records say he left the apartment shortly after, where he allegedly disposed of her purse and bloody cell phone near Bear Creek Park. The documents highlighting Unwubudu was taken into custody during a traffic stop in early May, but released after officers seized his cell phone. Investigators found Unwubudu had made multiple purchases at a Walmart, including trash bags, towels, and a flashlight, along with a mechanical saw from Walmart and Home Depot. And in the following days had multiple online searches related to can bleach destroy DNA, how to be a serial killer, and most forested part of Houston. A search warrant issued on his Richmond Avenue apartment found DNA police believe is a strong match to that of Felicia's. Johnson's body hasn't been recovered.
Help us find him and get him arrested, for this man is a predator.
All right, we're going to touch on this article real quick from Felicia Johnson's father, and then I'm going to give my comments on this as well, okay? So, father of woman who vanished after leaving Houston strip club says she's a victim of human trafficking, okay? The search for a 24-year-old woman who vanished after leaving a Houston strip club continues. Felicia Johnson was last seen leaving CoverGirl strip club on West Little York Road on the night of April 15. All right. Her father, Kevin Johnson, says his daughter traveled to Houston to visit family from San Diego. While in town, she tried to get a job as a dancer at CoverGirls. After being turned down for the position, she was waiting on an Uber when a customer offered her a ride back to her hotel. Felicia hasn't been seen or heard from since. When no one heard from Felicia Friday night, they became worried. And then on Saturday morning, they tracked her phone to Bear Creek Park, 4 miles from the strip club where she was last seen. 4 miles from that strip club, her phone was found in that park. Family says the phone was found on the side of the road covered in blood. I'm running off of pure faith and just not giving up on her, that we're going to get her back, said Mr. Johnson. Okay. Texas EquiSearch, Texas EquiSearch scoured the park searching for her, but with no luck. Her father flew in from San Diego to assist, but he says he believes she's still out there alive and in danger. I think she got caught up in one of those human trafficking situations where they are snatching up these out-of-town girls and putting them to work. That's what I think happened to her. I don't have proof, but in my heart, I feel like the strip club has something to do with it, Mr. Johnson said. All right. The news reached out to CoverGirl's strip club for a comment. We were told the owners never come into the establishment, and there was no way for us to speak with them. They also said the manager doesn't take phone calls. Felicia's father has hired a private investigator, and he says he's not stopping until he brings his daughter home. I'm going to be here as long as I can in hopes that something positive comes out of this, said Mr. Johnson. Community activist Quanell X has gotten involved as well. We also learned that the FBI is investigating as well. A prayer vigil is planned for Sunday at 5:30 p.m. at Bear Creek Park. All right. And so let me touch on this a little bit for the Black women. It's no secret. If you don't know, every year there's a certain amount of black women that disappear. All right. And it's not by accident, it's by design. All right. These people who are involved in doing stuff like this, they know where to look. They check places like strip clubs. They're looking for women who don't have any male figures in their lives to either protect them, or if they're dating them, something to that effect. All right. So you got to be aware of this stuff. They're also watching you at bus stations, train stations, maybe even airports. All right. And they might follow you for a little while to see your patterns, to see where you go, to see if you do connect with any males. If you got any males in your family, fathers, sons, cousins, brothers, uncles, you're dating a man, you're married to a man, they're following to check these things out to see if you are somebody they can snatch up. Another part of that dynamic is when a lot of women want to go out and say they don't need a man, they don't need a man, they don't need a man. Whether you feel like you need a man or not, maybe you should not go verbalizing it in person, and maybe you should not verbalize that on social media strictly for your protection. If you feel like you don't need a man, cool. But it's very smart to not broadcast it out, because when you do that, they're watching you, and you might be the next one they snatch up. Okay. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. The other part of this is that, yeah, they were saying that she, was trying to get some work at a strip club. And just because that might be the case doesn't mean that she deserved to die. Okay. Make that very clear. Sometimes women do things they feel they need to do in order to survive out here. All right. But also, like I said, keep that in mind, because it was allegedly said she was at a strip club or tried to get a job there. And then apparently somebody else approached her and said, hey, let me get you a ride. And maybe some other things. Maybe this guy tried to convince her to hang out with him, or maybe he gave her some type of offer that, she may have went for, who knows. And, this unfortunately happened. So my condolences go out to Kevin Johnson and the rest of his family for their loss of Felicia Johnson. Hopefully you will find her alive and well. And again, to everybody, be aware and mindful how the news gets down. The mainstream news propaganda machine gets down. Okay. They put him out as just, saying this suspect, but never mention he's from another country or he's a black immigrant. All right. That's not by accident. And they do this a lot when a lot of black immigrants do crimes. They don't really say anything, because if it's a man, they just want you to look at it as a black man, because they want your mind to be programmed into thinking, oh, all these black men do this. But they never look at it and say, wait a minute, these are black immigrants coming to this country, or maybe they were born in this country, but they got the DNA of an immigrant. All right. So I want y'all to definitely peep that game out and don't allow yourself to get fooled. All right. So with that being said, this is What's the 411, and we are out of here. Peace. And now here's your What's the 411 news brief.